All right, let's clap it up. Yahweh Shem Yahshua Bakatah to the Akim. Yahweh Shema Alatham Bahashem Yahweh to the Akwathim. We are the ISUPK, the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. We are not affiliated with any other group, any other Christian organization. And since 1969, we've been bringing out the truth of the Bible. And the truth is the so-called black man, the so-called Hispanic man, and the so-called Native man is the true Israelite or the true Jew or the lost sheep of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel, according to this Bible. And the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. That's right. And he is indeed the devil that the Bible speaks of. And our people have a problem glorifying him, the devil that the Bible speaks of. Right. We all know this weekend we have the oppressor's holiday coming up. Supposed to be for one day, but Memorial Day. But our people, we're gonna celebrate it all weekend. All right, we're gonna join in all their traditions. We're gonna barbecue. We're gonna do all the things that is against the Lord this weekend for the oppressor's holiday. And what holiday is that? It is Memorial Day, right? Memorial Day is supposed to be the celebration, not celebration, Salaki, the remembrance of their fallen soldiers from their war. And we'll get into all that tonight, but just thinking about what I just said, that from their wars, from their fights that had nothing to do with us. I mean, at the end of the day, we joined every single battle they had. You understand? From the Revolutionary War, the War 1812, the Civil War, right? World War I, World War II. We were in all the wars. And why were we in all the wars, right? We joined, and that's a powerful word there, joined. We joined their war because we wanted freedom. You understand me? And how many wars do the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native man need to try to join with our enemy, with our oppressor, with the devil, to realize that he's not gonna love you back? You understand me? That China man was not in that war with him, and he gives him a stone in your block. That Afghanistan, the Arab man, you understand me, was not on the same field with him, and he's gonna give him a store on your block so he can sell you all the Lucy's and all the malt liquor, right? The chat said, we got Hiroshima, was Nagasaki, whatever. They dropped a nuclear bomb on them people. You understand me? Afghanistan. You know how the war went with that, right? But he's still gonna the oppressor is still gonna love them more than they love you, right? And you're gonna glorify their holidays that you had nothing to do with, that you lost. If you was playing basketball with a brother, like say in the NBA and NFL, once they win the championship, guess what? They're gonna have a parade, right? If you was on the losing battle of that parade, is she gonna show up and be throwing confetti at him? Is he gonna show up and be glorifying his win? Good win, sir. Way to keep me and my people oppressed for all these years, and keep going. Keep up the good work. Oppress us for another 1,000 years, right? No, that's not how it should go. We have like real holidays according to this Bible that we should be glorifying and putting on a pedestal. You understand? That Feast of First Fruits, right? Passover. We have a lot of holidays that we should be glorifying. The Most High. Let's glorify the Most High. Let's glorify Christ, right? Let's glorify Moses. You understand me? For leading our people up out of Egypt. But we don't glorify that. We want to glorify the oppressor's war. That's what he do. Like, the oppressor has been in a war since existence. That's all the oppressor do is go to war. But soon as 2 or 3 brothers on your block get shot, they want to make it seem like you're the deviant. They want to make it seem like you're a menace to society. They want to make it seem like you're just so uncontrollable. When the oppressor built this whole nation on being out of pocket, being out of line. You understand me? And war is his thing. He spends more money on war than he does his own people. They done gave Ukraine trillions, billions, trillions of dollars, right? And how much of that went to your neighborhood, right? For that president that you had to be black. If you wasn't, what do you say? You had to. If you wouldn't vote for me, you're not black, right? You're black. You voted for him. What you get out of it, right? Your neighborhood's still destroyed, right? Your student debt loans that he promised you still ain't paid off, right? And then like think about why we even joined their military, why we joined their navy, why we joined their air force, why we joined all those things, because we think we're gonna get freedom, right? We don't want to be treated like another N-word, right? You think you're gonna be different once you put on the oppressor's uniform, right? Once you start doing the things the oppressor do, you think that you no longer have to be a so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native, and think you can join them to join something. Think about when you join a football team, you join a basketball team, if you join a fraternity, what's that mean? That means from the beginning you was not with them, right? So you have to join yourself to them, and that's not what the Most High wanted out of us. That's not what He wanted from His people. Like in this Bible, he doesn't talk a lot about joining all the nations. He wants you to separate from the nations. You understand me? The word holy means separate. It means set apart. That means He doesn't want you to take on their customs. He doesn't want you to take on their ways. And He definitely doesn't want you memorizing their Memorial Day. You understand me? Bigging it up, throwing a little red, white, and blue on. The oppressor had, what do you got? Memorial Day. He got July 4th, right? Veterans Day. A lot of his days are based on him going to another person's country and trying to bully them. Like they've been bullies their whole life. But we're gonna get in this Bible and see how the Most High feels about us doing the things we do and memorializing the enemy, the oppressor, the devil. We're gonna start in Isaiah 30:1. Let's start at Isaiah 30:1. And we're gonna see what the Most High got to say. Because we need to stop joining celebrating the oppressor. Like pull out of joining our oppressor and see what happens. Don't spend all that money in Target this weekend. You understand me? Don't spend all that money in Walmart. Don't buy all the flags up. Don't buy all the balloons, right? Don't buy all the meat to throw on your grill. You can grill any day. You don't have to grill because the prophet says we're gonna have a moment of remembrance for us starting wars for no reason, because that's what we do, right? That ain't got nothing to do with us. You should want your oppressor to fall. You should want your oppressor to fail. You should want the bully to be beat up, right? Why would you get into it to think you're gonna help the bully keep you oppressed, right? Because that's all they really been doing, keeping you oppressed. You haven't. A lot of people enjoy military, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines. You understand me? And what did they get out of it? PTSD, right? Came back with a drug habit, right? Left sober, now you're a crackhead. Now you're on perks because of the pain. Now you done lost your limbs because you're fighting in a war the Most High never told you to fight in. If you're going to fight, you should be fighting for your people, right? Fight for your nation, right? Fight. Why would you go away to another country to fight someone who has nothing to do with you, right? The Chinese, the East Indians and all that, that they doing is over there doing their thing. Your enemy is your oppressor that's right here oppressing you every day, right? You see him. He's right in your face. But you got that for me, Adawan? All right, let's do it.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Woe to the rebellious children.
Woe to the rebellious children. You understand me? Rebellious is it's like going against authority. It's like not doing. It's going against the authority, and our authority is the Most High. Our authority is Christ. That means it's certain things you got to do. The authority is like the government, right? Like our government gives you rules, right, and regulations. Every nation has a government. Every nation is governed by rules except for the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native. We're not. We seem to be the wildest. We seem because we're running around reckless because we're not governed by any rules. You understand me? We're governed by our oppressors' rules, which ain't our rules, because our rules are in this Bible, and the things they do, they can do according to this Bible because they're not getting the judgments of Deuteronomy 28. You understand me? They're not getting the curses from Deuteronomy. You understand me? 15, 28 and 15, right? We're getting those. We're the ones getting those. The prophet has been doing this his whole life, and he's been survived. He's been fine. He's been living his life on a high horse, right? Like he's not affected by these things. But the rebellious children who go against authority is the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Natives. You understand me? The children of Israel. We've been rebellious. We feel like we can do what we want to do, but we reap the benefits of that because we turn around and get punished for it, right? Read that from the top again, Salaki.
Again, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Woe to the rebellious children,
Right.
saith the Lord.
All right. Woe to the rebellious children. Woe means destruction. You understand me? Woe, Salakia. Woe means destruction to the rebellious children, and that's the children of Israel. And we are destroyed because we follow wicked customs and cultures from our oppressor, and that's why we destroyed. And this is thus saith the Lord. This is what the Lord says. You understand me? Read.
That take counsel.
All right. That take counsel. Counsel is advice. You understand me? Is taking advice. Taking good. Well, it ain't always good, but taking directions. Taking. You understand me? Information. Advice. Things that can help you. Read.
But not of me.
But not of me. But not of the Lord. We take of counsel, but not of the Lord. Right? Because the counsel of the Lord is these laws, statutes, and commandments. And as I was saying earlier, the Blacks, Hispanic, and Natives are the only ones who are not governed by our own rules. We're governed by America's rules. You understand me? The Chinese have their own government, right? The Arabs have their own government. You understand me? Everyone has their own government, but with the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native man. Why is that, right? Because our government is thrown to the side, and this is Bible. We act like we don't know. Well, we don't know because of our Christian pastors that our government is in here. The ways that we can conduct ourselves, the way that we should conduct ourselves, that will separate us from these other nations, who will keep us from falling in these death traps, these unalive traps that we fall in on a regular basis. Understand? And we take counsel, but not of the Lord. We take counsel from our government. What counsel do we get from our government? Counsel that the government will give us is they tell us to vote. Right? They've been since like 1960, maybe even before that. We've been voting. We have been voting. We've been running to them polls, right? And nothing are we in a better situation than we were then? Are we still not oppressed? Right? So what does voting really do for the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native man? It doesn't help us. It's not gonna help us. All voting does is give you false hope, make you feel like this person is gonna come in here for these 4 years and change your whole life. They're gonna get your pastor. Your pastor's not gonna tell you this. They're gonna get the pastor to be on their side. So the pastor's gonna rile up the whole congregation and get him to get the congregation to vote for a specific person because he's getting paid to do that, right? We take counsel and we join the military, we join the army because they tell you that they'll put you through college, right? They tell you you think you're gonna get paid, right? Get your little SRT, right? It's a little charger. You're gonna be rich for life. You're gonna be set for life, and that rarely happens, right? Like you might get a free meal, half price meal on Veterans Day or something like that. That do got a little good benefits, but at the end of the day, is it worth it, right? All the things that all the things that come with that, and when you do that, you take away from your people. Like when it comes to Memorial Day, why do we even celebrate Memorial Day? We feel like it has such a big meaning as Black, Hispanic, and Native. We feel like the oppressor was fighting for us to get out of slavery, but that wasn't the case at all. Like they had their own battles they was going through. Like they was fighting with each other. What they war is what all wars were: oppressor on oppressor, white on white crime. Right? That's what they do. They battle with each other. You had the Confederacy and you had the Union. You understand me? Going against each other because some wanted to keep slaves. You understand me? And the other ones did that. They wanted to industrialize things. Right? Some wanted to stay farmers and all that, and they needed people to do it for them because they're lazy. Right? So they needed people that would do the job for them. And then what else came from that? Then so they decided they was going to get it on. They was going to fight for it. But half the reason that the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Natives got in that war and drafted to that war is because they needed bodies. They needed people. They didn't do that to like what they say Abraham Lincoln emancipated you or whatever. That man did that after they won a certain war to keep you fighting for him. We've been fighting in all wars, and like I said earlier, we fight in all wars because we think we're gonna get freedom. Now, all them brothers who died in those battles died, but it was in vain because nothing changed. Got worse, right? Even after they got out of slavery, like they were still in slavery, and slavery didn't end right after the Civil War. They still in the last places who actually had slaves was Delaware and Kentucky, and guess what? They fought for the people you think was trying to fight for your slavery, try to fight to get you out of slavery in the North. Though they fought for them brothers. Like they didn't care about you getting out of slavery. They had other things on the agenda, and they needed bodies. It was a war tactic to get you in that war with them. Like it's a fight that had nothing to do with us. All their fights have nothing to do with us because we have our own fight that we have to fight. The oppressor is a child, right? Like our oppressor goes to war for nothing. Our oppressor did the American Revolutionary War or whatever because they was getting taxed, right? Because they didn't want to pay. They said, you know what? We gonna go to war. Let's go to war. Let's fight. And that's what they do. They fight over the littlest things while we're still here in the gutter. We're still here getting destroyed. We've been getting destroyed since we touched this continent. Right, like no other nation has been put through the hell that we've been put through since we got here on this continent, and we want to glorify that. Right, we want to glorify the person who put us in that bondage, the person who has who practice perpetual hate towards you, who practice perpetual hate towards your mother, your grandmother, your grandmother's mother, you understand me? All those people. And now we feel like how they say we're the descendants of slaves. We are, and guess what? The oppressors out there now is descendants of the oppressors that oppress your people. Right? Like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree neither. Right. They're still the same way, just hide it a little better. Right? You see it to this day. Like things are not equal, things are not even, and they still have a perpetual hatred towards you. They back in the Civil War days, you wasn't even seen as a human being. You were seen as property. You were seen as something that they wasn't even. They thought it was right to have a slave. They thought it was right to separate you from your family. They thought it was okay to put your family on auction blocks. They thought it was okay to sex traffic your daughter. They thought it was okay to feed your babies to the alligators. They thought all of that was fine. And guess what? They did it one nation that was supposedly under their God, right? That's if they was in his Bible, they would never treat anyone like that. They used the gods of your God. They wasn't fearing no God, not the God of this Bible. They wasn't. The God of this Bible wouldn't allow that to happen. You understand me? But the God of the Bible also says that would happen if you don't follow these laws, these statutes, and these commandments that he set forth, and not follow the other nations and things they do, right? But we can read that.
Which one?
We can go from the top again, verse 1.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me,
Mm-hmm.
and that cover with a covering,
Mm-hmm.
but not of my spirit.
All right, now who cover with a covering? You understand me? He's talking about the Israelites who cover with a covering. Like, what's your covering? Your covering be your clothes, the things you do, like your customs, your culture, right? We cover with a custom and a culture. What's the custom and culture of America? It's okay to be a homosexual, live an alternate lifestyle, right? It's okay to be a druggie, right? President Biden was handing out crack pipes, right, to the people, so he can smoke crack in peace, so he can safely hit that rock, right? It's okay to have abortions, to be a serial killer. God, our sisters out there, be it serial unalivers, right? For their own convenience, right? It's okay to be a liar. It's okay to be covetous, right? It's okay to be absolutely prideful, right? In this nation and the covering that we're covering with, but we're not covering in the covering of the Most High Spirit. Understand? I mean, that's these laws, these statutes, these commandments, right? That's loving your brother, right? That's being a help to your nation, right? That's not eating shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster, right? It's things that you do that will absolutely help you survive in this life, in this captivity until it's over, right? Because this captivity will not last forever. But if you don't last to the end, you ain't gonna reap the benefits of it, right? Because you follow the oppressor, who's gonna tell you it's cool to be a drug dealer. So you're gonna spend the rest of your days in that jail that he has planned. He's gonna put the drugs in your neighborhood. As soon as you sell those drugs, he's gonna pick you up, right? Like, think about all the things that they do. Like, even when it comes to the Section 8 program, now you think he do that for nothing? He does that for a reason. He gets that man out that house, so your son don't have no guidance. So your son could listen to mom, and you know the son wants to rebel against mom because we are rebellious people, right? But guess what? After that boy turned 14, 15, stepdad coming back to get him. Who's that stepdad? That one who didn't put that free food, right, in his mouth. The one who didn't house him with that Section 8. And he going, oh, you gotta live with dad now. You gotta live with Uncle Sam in that jail cell. Right? You got to do the rest of your time with Pops in that jail cell that he has all planned for you, like taking the bait, like a fish swimming around and see that shiny thing in the water, and he bite it. You took the bait, and you're gone. Right? He's gonna pull you up out that water, and you're gonna do your time. You got to lay down in that corner for a while, because we cover with the oppressor's covering. Right? We don't cover with the Most High's covering in His spirit. You understand? We want to put on the oppressor's spirit. We want to be the oppressor. We want to join the military. We want to join their police force. Right? You see what happened with those brothers recently. The brothers who beat that brother to death. Right? 4 black cops. You understand me? I can't think of the specific place it was at. Memphis. Like, so it was in Memphis, like those brothers. But guess what? They covered with the oppressor's covering. But guess what? They was picked up like that day, like the next day. When you see the brother just choked that brother out on camera for 15 minutes, and they didn't want to. They really didn't want to take him to jail. The brother who did nearly like that, they really didn't want to take him to jail. And after that, they raised about $2 million on a GoFundMe. You think those 4 black officers who's covering with the oppressor's covering got anything put in their GoFundMe? No, they go straight to jail. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. Don't start a GoFundMe, right? Because we think as so-called Black, Hispanic, and Natives, once we join them, we are a part of them, right? And that's not the case. And they will show you every chance you get. Like they'll let you join that government, But you think they're gonna not still treat you like a brother from the south side, a brother from the hood, a brother who doesn't have the right to be sitting beside them? They're gonna do it every time, and that's why we need to stop glorifying. You understand me? Our enemies' days and glorify our own days. How about we glorify the Rosa Parks or you know what I mean, the Harriet Tubmans or people who actually did something, the Frederick Douglasses. We don't talk about them. Glorify the Most High. Glorify Christ, right? Read.
That they may add sin to sin.
We may add sin to sin. Now, how do you add sin to sin? Right? If you adding sin to sin is being having multiple sins, right? Like, all right, I tell you not eat shrimp, crab, pork, or lobster. Okay, you eating shrimp, crab, pork, or lobster. Not only are you eating shrimp, crab, pork, or lobster, you're also living an alternative lifestyle, right? All right, now you're also a whoremonger, right? Now you're also letting your shorties get abortions. Now you're also putting your wife away. Now you're also killing your brother. Now you're also selling drugs to your brother. That's adding sin to sin. Like you racking them up. You racking them up, and that is the reason why we are so proportionally at the bottom of every or at the top of every statistic when it comes to the murder rate, when it comes to the high blood pressures, the diabetes, the sicknesses. When COVID came out, they automatically put the so-called blacks and Hispanics at the top of the list. So soon as it came out, they didn't give it a chance to do the results, but they knew, like, guess who's gonna be at the top of these results? The blacks and Hispanics. Y'all are the most likely to get this. You understand me? Because we're covering with our oppressors covering. We're not covering with the spirit of the Most High. The spirit of the Most High has us not do those things, right? The spirit of the Most High will not have us happy because we got a Juneteenth coming up, right? Because that's not helping us. That day is not putting food in your refrigerator. It ain't helping you pay no bills. If they're gonna do anything with Juneteenth, run me a couple dollars. Send me a little check with Juneteenth. Everybody's black. Send us a check every Juneteenth. They ain't gonna do that at all. But we get mesmerized by that we think we got a day. You know who's gonna promote that? Yeah, your Christian pastor. They probably gonna be in there having a dance off, a praise festival, right? Running up and down the aisles because they gave them a day, and like Juneteenth isn't even really an important day because you do realize people were still slaves after Juneteenth, right? People were still slaves. I think it was maybe 1964, 65, something like that. But people remained slaves after that. That wasn't. And then the story of Juneteenth, I think they told them like years later. Juneteenth, it was like some brothers in Texas. I think they freed about 1,200 of them, something like that. And they chalked that up as, hey, we emancipated all these. We got all these slaves out. They're in slavery, baby. But while other brothers are still slaving. But that's like the brother who gets that record deal, right? And all that brother who signs that NBA contract and he's rich. He's living high off the hog, as they say, right? And then he turn around and say, well, I made it out the hood, but everybody else can't make it out the hood, right? They be like, the press would be like, see, John made it out the hood. Why you can't make it out the hood? Because one compared to millions is not substantial enough to count as a win. Not substantial enough to count as a victory. Because you understand me, that is not a victory. Like, and that's what we do, and that's how they keep us separate. Because America teaches us that we should do it all by ourselves, and we are the only nation who decides that we want to all do it by ourselves, and we're not. Every other nation knows that it's power in numbers. It's power in joining up. It's power to not hating each other. We're the only nation who hates each other. Right? But we learned that from our oppressor. Our oppressor hates us, so we feel like we hate each other. We feel like we want to distance ourselves from our oppressor. From each other because of our oppressor. Because we love our oppressor so much. And that's not the way that the Most High wanted it. You understand me? After that, let me get another. I'm gonna get Proverbs 3 and 31 for a second, but I'm gonna go to another one. But I'm gonna get Proverbs 3 and 31. But the Most High specifically explaining us how to move in this captivity when it comes to their holidays, because we have our own high holy days. So there's really no reason for us to be falling in love with their days or wanting to enjoy their holidays. They didn't help. They hadn't helped us. They hadn't helped us at all. Read.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor.
Envy thou not the oppressor. Envy thou not the colonizer. Envy thou not the brother who has you working from day in to day out to, like, matter of fact, getting back to that Civil War thing, because that's where it comes from. That's where your Memorial Day comes from. All the people that died in that and all that. Like, after they was actually free later on, after that, they made them brothers like sign contracts to get jobs, and they couldn't even leave for a year. They basically signed themselves back into slavery on paper, right? They had to join, and they had to work for a oppressor, right? They had things called like the Black Code, where you had to work for a devil, right? You had to do all these certain stipulations and all these certain things, and you have to, because you have to eat now, right? They let you out of slavery, but they didn't let you out of slavery with no money. They didn't let you out of slavery with no land. It's basically like once your kid turned 18, you just put them on the front step and say, "Now go do it. Now go make something happen for yourself," right? And wonder why we're, as generation to generation, where we still suffer those setbacks of knowing that we're playing in a losing game. But knowing we're playing in a losing game, that should be all the more the reason that we gather ourselves together. The Most High said, "O nation not desired." So we are the nation that is not desired. We are the nation who fought so hard, fought in every war, just for someone to come from another country and reap more benefits of this country than you, right? Because it's never meant for you to reap the benefits of this country. They always will see you as property. For a nation to be as evil as to really take a person as property, right? Like that's sex trafficking and all that, if I ever heard of it, right? That's an evil person, right? You got to have a special hatred in your heart to do something like that and still don't take responsibility for it. You know what happens nowadays? It seems as though, like, with the critical race theory and all that they got going on, it's like they knew what they did, and now they're starting to realize how evil and wicked they were. So now they're trying to step away from the mess. They're trying to act like, I mean, they want to separate themselves from it. So they're trying to delete it from history. They want to not be remembered for the things they did. You understand me? But we're gonna remind you the all the things that they did, all the hardships they put our generation through, all the reasons that we're destroyed in this nation because we're living by their rules. And every war that they fight for what? They fight for freedom, right? So you got to fight so-called black man, Hispanic man, Native man. You got to fight for freedom. You have to fight to separate yourself from this nation, and that's how you fight. You get freedom by separating yourself from this nation. You get freedom by separating yourself from their traditions, their cultures, and their customs, because you have your own traditions, cultures, and customs to abide to, who will absolutely put you where you need to be in this captivity. You understand me? And you can join the ISUPK, go on your website, get in a camp near you, right? And you will learn how to maneuver in this captivity and not be always oppressed and not falling into their traps and not going through the same cycle, had the same cycle repeated that went on for generations, right? You can build your family up. You can have a productive household, right? You don't have to be putting money on them jail books every week, you understand me, for your son, right? You can absolutely be something glorious in the Lord's eyes, right? Like stop being a disappointment to the Lord and be something that the Lord looks down on and be like, yeah, that's one of mine there. You understand me? But we don't know that, so we don't act that way. We are governed by our oppressor when our government is in this Bible. These laws, statutes, and commandments, right? All right, let's go with. I'm gonna get. Let's go with Jeremiah 10. No, Lamentations 4:17.
Yeah, finish that scripture.
All right, let's go.
Envy thou not the oppressor,
Be thou not the oppressor,
and choose none of his ways.
and choose none of his ways. And his ways include Memorial Day. His ways include celebrating these holidays that he puts in front of you. You understand me? You don't have to celebrate those days because he tells you. You don't have to pull your barbecue grill out because he tells you to. You don't have to bring the sparklers out, put on red, white, and blue shorts and all that because he tells you to. At the end of the day, like, what are you celebrating? You still don't have freedom. You never received freedom. They have all the freedom in the world, and that's why they're celebrating it. And there's no reason for us to be celebrating that with them. You understand? Then I'm Twab. I'm gonna go to Lamentations 4:17 because we're still destroyed out here for following the oppressor's customs. We're memorializing their successes, and their successes are keeping us down. Every success they have involves us staying at the bottom. Once we get off the bottom, they're not going to be a lot of successes they can celebrate, right? They would never allow us to get off the ground because, you understand, when you're beating up somebody too strong, they'll just say, don't let him off the ground. You know what's going to happen once he gets on his feet, right? And that's why they keep you down perpetually, all right?
This is the book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 17. As for us,
this is talking about the children of Israel, the so-called black, so-called Hispanic, and the so-called native man. As for us,
our eyes as yet failed.
Our eyes have yet failed. What we're looking for is failed. It is not worked. It is not succeeded. Read.
For our vain help.
For our vain help, pointless help, like things that are supposed to help us. Our preachers who are supposed to help us, who just want to take our money, take your grandmother's money, want to eat pork, shrimp, and lobster, wants to tell you all the things that the Most High is against, but he want to tell you it's okay to do it. All the things the Most High is against, he want to tell you nobody can be perfect. All the things that you should know to help you in this life, he's not going to tell you. Our vain help is running to them polls, like I said earlier, running to them polls, thinking that our vote is going to really make a big impact in life. Thinking our vote is going to make a change in your neighborhood. Our vote hasn't helped yet. It don't matter your mayor, don't matter your governor, it don't matter your president, it don't matter who you put in Senate, it don't matter who you put in that office. Like the two parties work with each other really. Like they're two separate branches, but they're really the same branch under the same government, right? And they both of their main goals is to keep you oppressed and to help each other out. They're like some of the richest people in this nation, our government. They're not the watchmen. Like a watchman will make sure his people are good before himself is even good, right? The Christ washed the disciples' feet, right? To show that brotherhood, to show that love. You think Biden gonna come through there and do anything for you, right? You think he's gonna come to and pay you a visit? He's not. You think Obama is gonna come through and pay you a visit or help you? Really, everything they help with is vain help because they're doing it for their own interests. They're doing it for their own vanity. You understand me? Like, it's pointless. It doesn't mean anything. Read.
In our watching.
In our watching, in our voting. Read.
We have watched for a nation that could not save us.
In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. A nation who made you pledge your allegiance to their flag since you started school, right? A nation who makes you stand up, sing that Star Spangled Banner, And our people so crazy. We stand up, we sing that Star Spangled Banner with a tear in our eyes, right? Tears running down your face, right? Because we love America so much, a nation who never helped you, a nation who will never help you, a nation who tells you to get over slavery while they still remember 9/11, the Holocaust, Pearl Harbor, right? They remember all of that. Their memory's real good when it comes to things people did to them.
Right.
They don't forget that. But when it comes to the most heinous crime that was ever committed in this country, on this planet, Salaki, you right, not even this country, on this planet, on this earth, they want you to forget it. Does that sound right to you? Does that sound like a nation who wants to help you? Does that sound like a nation who wants you to get back on your feet when they know that you never stood a chance in their rulership and the laws they make against you? Like the people who told you back in the 80s crack epidemic to what they say, just say no to drugs. They just told you just say no. Right, and now it's an epidemic going on where there are these pills, right? You got rich devils, rich oppressors who are dying off these pills, so they putting fentanyl in them. And guess what? They need help, right? It's not their fault. It's everyone else's fault but theirs. They get counseling. They get free medical clinics. They get everything you need to try out of line.
So like that, because you have compassion.
Yeah, kind.
You understand? Like they understand compassion for the room.
Mm-hmm.
But compassion for us, well, I mean, we're expendable, man.
Kind.
You understand? Like all day, every day. It's in the news all the time. One of our lives get taken. It's. I mean, it takes for entire cities to get burned down for us to get justice. Like there was never justice for the atrocities of slavery. 400 years of slavery and counting. Like there was never any like who went to jail for slavery?
No one.
Huh? Who did a day in jail for slavery? No one. You understand? But you do know that there are old members of the Nazi regime, 90 years old, 100 years old, they taking and putting them in their wheelchairs in jail for the crimes they committed against, the so-called, Jewish man. You don't understand compassion when it comes to us. That's why it's so disgusting. You understand when we take and envy our oppressor and choose all of his ways and do things like celebrate Memorial Day because he wants to memorialize the soldiers that have, fought and conquered lands, and toppled empires for his gain. You understand? So of course he wants to, honor his, his veterans and fallen soldiers, many of which are our brothers and sisters who had no other choice. You understand? Like who had no other choice. And all we're saying is you don't have to. You understand? There's some days that you can memorialize that the Most High taught the children of Israel to, observe. You understand? Some high holy days. You understand? Hanukkah is one. You understand? The Passover is another. But it's odd. This country doesn't, memorialize those days. They don't memorialize those events on our behalf. Huh? In a place like America where everything gets celebrated. You understand? Like there's a holiday for everything. You can look it up. There's a list. Every day's a holiday in America. Damn, I think the other day, one day was freaking National Oreo Cookie Day. You understand? Like, I mean, anything gets memorialized, but not our trouble, not our atrocities. Like you said, the whole Juneteenth thing was about us not getting what they told us. Right. It's about a broken promise.
Right.
You understand? But that's the land we live in. We can't look to this nation. You understand?
To save us.
For help.
Right.
That's vain.
Right.
You understand? Looking to your enemy for assistance. Looking to your enemy for protection and for guidance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's pretty disgusting, man. That's Stockholm syndrome at its finest.
Kind of one kind.
The celebration of Memorial Day because your oppressor said, like, I don't even know no damn fallen soldiers out.
God, that's fell. Wait. God.
And we're doing what?
God.
Because Master's doing it, we're just gonna rock along with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's slavery, man.
Okay.
Like, that's a slave mentality. So ignore it. Like you read a while ago, Proverbs 3:31, envy thou not the oppressor and choose none of his ways. Ain't it legal in this country to not celebrate a holiday? Am I mistaken? Is there a law that says you must celebrate Memorial Day?
Okay.
I mean, we got to get it together, man.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you got it.
Ain't no sweat. No, you're so right. That's we're stuck looking for help from a nation who will not save us. Like, you think the same nation who put those drugs in your community is gonna take them out of there? You think the same nations that put guns in your neighborhoods gonna take them back out? You think the same nation that shows your women on TV in the worst manner, in the worst light, to have the younger ones after them acting the same way they do is gonna help us? You think the same nation who glorifies gangster rap and, you understand me, and killing each other when it comes to the Black Hispanic natives is going to help us? That's not going to help us, right? Like, and that's why we need to stop memorializing our oppressor. That's why we need to memorialize things like people like Sandra Bland, right? Let's memorialize Mike Brown, right? Trayvon Martin,
right.
Like George Floyd. Right. Let's memorialize that. Let's make sure that doesn't go forgotten. Let's make sure that we stand up and we go against, not go against the system. You know what I mean? In a conductive way, in a constructive way. You understand me? That leads to building your nation up. Separate. There you go. Being holy, as the Most High asked us to be. That's how you fight the system. You separate from the system. You unplug yourself from the system. You unplug yourself from their holidays. You unplug yourself from the vain vanity that they make you seek. You separate from the drugs that they want to put in your system. You separate from all the things that leads to our destruction, that leads to generational destruction, that leads to us never getting ahead in life but staying behind, right? And if you don't know how to do it, get in class. You understand me? ISUPK.com. Find a camp leader around you. You understand me? ISUPK under Commander Jimmy Hanna, right? And we can you'll find out how to do this. You understand me? You Tawab, you want another one or Tawab?
Still another one.
I can get Deuteronomy 32:7.
Let's get it.
You understand me?
Talk.
Let's talk. Let's talk.
They hate the Bible. The world hates the Bible. You understand?
Oh, yeah.
Which is why it's so important that, we teach these classes the way that we do. You understand?
Come.
And that first scripture you pulled out, we take the counsel of the heathen.
Mm-hmm.
And everything the heathen does is against the Most High. There's no counsel you can take from the heathen. You understand? These other nations. That's why it says it adds sin upon sin. Like, man, if you take 2 counsels from them, that's 2 sins. Mm-hmm. 3, you know what I mean? Like you say, celebrating this holiday.
Multiply. Adding them up.
Memorial Day, you're going to celebrate Memorial Day, right? And make the fallen soldiers of his, regime gods, right? And worship them.
Right.
And you're going to throw pork on the grill.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
Pork on the grill. You're going to play the national anthem. You're going to stand and put your hand over the heart and worship that idol.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's eat.
God.
I got that Deuteronomy for you.
All right, let's do it.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 7. It says, remember the days of old.
This is the Most High. Say, remember the days of old. Like, don't forget about how you was done by this nation. Don't forget about how this nation feels about you. Don't forget how this nation treated you, because at the end of the day, nothing is going to change, right? So if you know where you came from, you know where you're going, right? Read.
consider the years of many generations.
Now consider the years of many generations. Right? Remember the times that the Martin Luther King came through and tried to integrate the schools, right? And you had to get hosed down, right? You had to get chased by dogs, right? Remember the days of old when your generation, further previous generations were in slavery, right? When it was beat, right? And it was made to do manual labor every day, right? Or they would die, right? Where they was raped by the slave master, the women and the men, right? Remember those days. Remember the days where you had to fight just to try to be equal. You had to fight for equality, right? You remember the days of old when you had to drink from a totally different water fountain, right? Remember this, Adamar?
So I can remember the days of old when our ancestors were trying to fight to convince the oppressor that I too am a man.
I
am a human being.
Just
like you.
Right.
That we are not 3/4 of a man. Oh, how soon we forget.
Oh yeah, we forget that. Yeah, we forget when we wasn't looked at as nothing but property. Like it was sold like a 1999 Chevy at the auction.
Right.
Hey, we was put on that block, and then don't look. Remember the days of old when you had a whole family and you had to watch your wife get sold, you had to watch your kids get sold, right? You had to watch your cousin get killed. You understand? Because he didn't want unalived because he didn't do what the oppressor told him to do fast enough. Remember the times where you had to lose a limb because you wanted to escape. Remember the times that they had bounty hunters. Remember the time they started cops just to catch the slaves that ran away who wanted a little taste of freedom. Remember those days. You understand me, Reed?
Ask thy father.
Ask your father. Ask an old head. Ask a brother, because if you think about it, like the 60s, 1960s, 1970s, they was going through segregation. They was going through times where they couldn't hop in the oppressor's pool, right? I don't want
Jim Crow.
Jim Crow. Jim Crow. Remember that. Remember the Civil Rights Act. You understand me? It was at 64, right? Like there's still generations who will hear from that, right? Ask your father. Ask an old head. Ask an elder, right? Ask them. Read.
And they will show thee.
They will show you. They would tell you. They got stories. They have stories of how the oppressor oppressed them. They got stories of how the oppressor came through and used to lock up all the squeegee boys, right? They have stories for you. They know what went on because they was here, but we're so quick to forget. We are so selfish and tied up in the oppressor's culture and his covering that we feel like if it didn't happen to us right now, it's not gonna happen. Well, it is still gonna happen. You just don't realize the beast that you're dealing with because you don't know where they came from, right? It's the same beast in a different person, right? It's the same, like I said, we're descendants of slaves and they are descendants of oppressors, right? They still have the same heart. They still have the same mentality. You think they love you more? They don't, or they still wouldn't oppress you the way they did, right? They don't want to, like I said earlier, they have no compassion. They don't even want to acknowledge the fact that you were wrongful, you did wrong, that you got a raw deal, that they're quicker to help another nation before they help the ones who actually build the nation. Like, let's not forget about all the inventions that so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native man actually came up with, but being that it's the oppressor's world, they're able to get that patent on it, right? They're able to take over your invention. They're able to keep it for their own. The oppressor doesn't have much of a culture. The oppressor culture comes from us doing things, they taking it and capitalizing on it and monetizing it, right? Like, think about when it comes to sports. The oppressor is not that good at sports, but guess who's getting monetized the most off of it? Our oppressor. The oppressor isn't too good when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to music. But guess who's getting the most money out of that entertainment and that music? The oppressor, right? They did it for years. It's right in your face. But if you don't know what you're dealing with, you won't know how to deal with them. You understand me? And how you deal with them is separating and not want to join in their customs, their cultures are making them love you, because you can make them love you like all them brothers who joined them wars, right? Who think about all the brothers who joined that Civil War for that Memorial Day, who lost their life, to realize that nothing changed, to realize that 80 years down the line, they're still going to be getting gunned down by cops, to realize they're still going to be in poverty, to realize that it was all for nothing. It didn't help nothing, right? You want another one, or you got something for him? I don't want.
Yeah, that will do it.
All right. You want this to close it out?
Yeah, just to remind them about the.
We got the closing Feast of First Fruits, which would be the 29th of May. The Baltimore schools also having a Family Day, which would be May 27th. And we'll also, I believe they also have that Midwest Fire Weekend coming up. Not sure the exact date. We'll get back with you next class on that one, but we also have that coming up. With that, we're the ISUPK, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana. Since 1969, we've been out two for the Bible. We're the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native is the true Jewish Bible. And with that, Shalom, Israel.